And good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us for another show. We're talking Swanton for the next hour. Happy to have as guests Earl Fournier, the Swanton Select Board Chairman, and Brian Savage, the Swanton Town Administrator. I guess that makes me think, any thought on the Select Board to go from Town Administrator to Town Manager? Earl, has that ever come up, or...?
Well, it might in the future, but right now, with the town and the village setup we have, this system is working good.
Yeah, things are working okay now.
And if sometime in the future that could very well happen as Swanton grows,
And I guess that typically does happen with growth. Sometimes the town administrator does turn into a town manager.
Right.
Anyway, I should know we're taping this show on Thursday, June 15th. And I'm happy to hear you guys apparently had a less eventful night than I did. Yeah, chasing a bat around my house last night. Every few years I get a bat. I don't know where these guys come from, but anyway, I was watching TV, reading a paper downstairs, see a bat cruising around my dining room, grabbed my tennis racket. The bat had vanished at that point. Go upstairs to my room, reading late in my upstairs bedroom, and about to turn off my light when the bat resurfaced and knocked it down and threw it out on the porch. So hopefully my last bat for a few years, but no such incident with.
No. Well,
you ever get bats?
Not in my house.
Not in your house?
Not in the house. No.
Boy, just me. Huh? Lucky me.
But maybe the bats are coming back. They did have a problem with them, so maybe that's a good sign.
That's
but unfortunately, it's in your house.
Yeah, no, bats have taken a beating. I do feel bad. Sounds like bats. In fact, I get down to Kilcare a lot, the state park. Boy, in the old days, I would see when I would be walking out like at dusk, I would routinely see just all kinds of bats.
Right.
I haven't seen one down there in years, I don't think. Boy, bats, bees, sounds like a lot of issues out there.
Yep.
Anyway, I guess a little closer to home here. Boy, I guess I'll start with the homeless issue. Just seems to be about your top news story in Vermont just about every day. And of course, Governor getting some flack from some of the demos in Prague for not putting more. In fact, it's even a little hard for me to keep track of this story. Sounds like there are another couple of weeks of funding in places, but I know St. Albans had one of the old motels had some of these folks in it, and I think they're out of there now. Any place in Swanton that's had?
Yes, I believe our motel on Grand Avenue had were full. I'm not sure what the status is presently, but it is a problem statewide. But we can't go on. We, being taxpayers, can't go on forever paying for hotel rooms. I'm not sure. I think a lot of it needs to be addressed. I know they want the state has done some work in addressing it through making some changes to the zoning laws that towns will have to provide for more housing that way.
And I guess one of the initiatives coming out of the legislature, duplexes now apparently, and
that's right.
Duplexes are okay.
And we'll, and I know they relaxed parking regulations, and I personally think that's probably not a good idea.
Of course, we're talking to a former longtime legislator here.
Right, and I don't, but I think that should be a local decision.
Yeah.
As to what how many parking spaces to require per dwelling unit, because it depends on what the occupancy of that dwelling unit is.
Yeah.
But most people, couples, maybe have an adult, teenage driver, they're going to need 2, if not 3 parking spaces.
Yeah.
So, but that's how they're trying to address a lot of that. But
has this issue come up before the select board in terms of can we do something for?
Not directly as far as providing shelter for the homeless. We've had the issue a couple times in Swanton. We know it's a statewide problem. The housing issue is a tough one. Even with zoning changes, that's still not going to provide the type of housing that's probably going to be needed. The town of Swanton, though, has appropriated money to update all our zoning bylaws.
Yeah.
We're going to do a complete update, and that'll take into consideration all the changes that this has been required by the state. So we'll be up to date on there. We're hoping that we can make it easier for people to go through the zoning process when this is all done. But part of it will be done for the housing issues that Brian mentioned that the state is, part of the housing bill that they passed.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing it right off. It's supposed to be starting, I believe, in July
Yeah.
after the town plan is
Yeah.
officially completed. We've hired a consultant to come on board, and that is, do you know the name of the company? He's a local guy.
It's Leo 9 Associates out of Montpelier, but the local person is Corey Parent.
In fact, I was going to say that the
Yeah.
folks who,
Yeah.
Former State Senator Corey
Right.
Parent's working
That's
for.
right. He was hired by the town to assist with the town plan, and now that that's completed, they decided to retain his services to assist with the rewrite of the zoning
Interesting.
regs.
Boy, I would have sworn, I would have bet my life a couple of years ago that Corey Parent, who had started working for the town in addition to being a state senator, would have been the next town manager in St. Albans Town. I would have bet my life on that. Shows you what I know. And speaking of which, Sean Adkins, I guess, coming on board in St. Albans Town. Brian, have you met Sean yet?
I have not met him.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Something that has started, the town administrators and town managers of Franklin County get together on a bi-monthly basis.
That sounds like a very good idea.
For lunch, and we discuss mutual issues.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure he'll be in attendance at the next one that will be sometime probably in early July.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm hoping to talk to, in fact, I plan to talk to the folks in the town in the next day or two, and perhaps the new town manager. Boy, Kerry Johnston, a long tenure, I think a good 10 years or so for Kerry as the St. Albans town manager.
Yeah.
And of course, speaking of tenures, boy, Dominic Cloud, St. Albans City, well into double digits now, and the average for that position is 5 years or so, probably something like that.
Usually 5 or so years. I believe Orman Croft was the record holder for the state.
I bet Orman did have a record.
Way back. But yeah, usually it's a fairly short term.
Yeah. Interesting. So a fair amount of stability there. Let's talk MVU, the sidewalk rec path from MVU. Is that running into some issues here, Earl?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Again, money. I'm sure money's got nothing to do with this, right?
Actually, this is one of the
Not so much
situations
money?
where it's not a money
Oh, really?
issue, really. The town has put aside money for its share.
Yeah.
It's that it has to come up with. The concerns that have been brought up are safety. One of them, that would be a top concern. The second one is usage. There's a lot of people in the community that are concerned that, this sidewalk is going to be something that's not going to be used that much. Because there's not a lot of usage there's not a lot of kids walking back and forth now. Now, you could say that if a sidewalk was there, they probably would,
Right.
but then again, how do you know? And, there is 78, a lot of changes going up on 78, I'm sure, in the future with the airport project, this
Yeah.
and that. And is that maybe, and then plus the landowners on 78 are right close to the road, as it is, they're older buildings, and, they're very concerned about the impact it's going to have on them if that sidewalk goes up there.
Well, I just might add, and I might have mentioned it before, that's the issue that killed. It was kind of a sad recollection of mine. I'm going back decades, but St. Albans actually had come up with the money. I forget how, if they had applied for it anyway. I think they had about $600,000, if my memory is perchance correct, to do a rec path from the city down to St. Albans Bay. And the money was absolutely there. But the thing that killed it, there were a few landowners who just they just couldn't reach an agreement with, and it died, unfortunately. So that issue.
That is an issue. We had a public hearing, public input session at our last select board meeting, and the landowners made it pretty clear that they're concerned about this, and they probably would, it would be an ordeal to get the easements that we would need.
Really?
Even though most of the project is in the state right away.
Huh.
But construction easements are going to be something that's going to have to get, and
How many landowners are we talking about who have concerns, roughly?
let's see.
Well, I would say it's easy to say all of them, but we're talking, these would be residential landowners,
Yeah.
about 9 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
Then
an
there's the
insignificant
commercial,
number.
but there was some representation from the commercial landowners there. They didn't say one way or the other, but they. And then they may very well have concerns as well, but they didn't express them. I think they were pretty.
Yeah.
So
This has been going on since the original scoping study was done in 2000, started in 2016, if I remember right. You know, and the grant got approved, I think, in 2017 or 2018 for a total cost of $750,000, which 20% is the town's share. The town has around $100,000 that it has put aside over the years to meet its match. But, you know, the board has given some serious consideration of whether we should go forward or not.
Wow.
Has proposed. An alternative came up at the public hearing that we would go at least as far as Frontage Road and then a short section of Frontage Road up the back entrance to MVU, which wasn't really that much of an entrance or used or talked about much when the original scoping study was done, even though it was brought up, and they felt that wasn't a viable option because it was just a pass through the woods, but it's been expanded over time because MVU needs, you know, basically they should have two accesses, entrances and exits instead of just one. So that's one possibility, but because this is a grant, federal highway money, Federal Highway Administration may not agree with that. They may require us to foot all the costs to do the redesign. They may even want money back from the original design that, you know, has already been done. We're up to identifying right-of-ways right now. And awaiting the information from our consultants given to the state, the highway department, to look at and make sure that they agree that these are the right-of-ways we need. And then once they approve that, the next step would be to go out and try to obtain these easements. But, you know, right now the project is basically on hold. Because if the town does stop the project, we will have to pay back all the money that's been spent to date.
Really?
And we've got an estimated in here, Brian, of what?
Approximately 90,000 today.
Is that right? 90,000 you'd have to pay back?
Yes, but we do have that money set aside because we were setting, over the years, money's been set aside out of the budget every year. So we wouldn't have to take it out of our budget, we'd have to take it out of that account, and it would be money that would be basically have been spent for nothing, even though we'd still have the information if in the future, you know, it was something that was going to be needed because of changes in the area. You know, we'd have a starting point, you know, with that information.
Yeah.
But the board's very concerned about going forward with this project.
Wow. And the original path, I assume, is just coming down the MVU driveway and just going along Route 78?
Yeah.
It wasn't going through woods at all?
No. And at the present time, MVU is not going to be putting any sidewalks to meet it. Because they're not in a position to do that at the present because of the roof issue. They've already told us that, you know, we like the idea and we'll probably do it, but there's no guarantee when it will be connected to MVU through their driveway.
Wow, this is sounding pretty shaky at this point.
Yeah, you know, and do we want
This is a surprise, boy, for a while it looked like this was moving forward. Are you surprised that it's kind of gone the other way? Or?
Well, no, I'm not all that surprised that it's gone the other way because it's been dragging on for a long time. We've had to change consultant or engineers. One company that we were working with, you know, they basically got out of the business, so we had to go to another company. Fortunately, one of the guys from the first company got employed by the second one, so that helped some, but we had to redo contracts for that. It's been dragging on a long time. You know, and we're concerned. The other thing that this time brings on is the fact that the construction costs are probably going to be higher. Well, I know they're going to be higher than what they originally projected. You know, and we were even considering going for another grant to supplement the one we have. And we're not sure, you know, what the numbers are going to finally be. And in Swanton, I mean, the board we've got other things that we're going on.
We got a few other things to deal with too, I guess.
You know, not that we're opposed to sidewalks and, you know, healthy fitness things. I mean, we're very supportive of that stuff. But is this something that's going to be used? That is a real big thing.
Interesting. Speaking of Earl, you're a former longtime MVU board member, are you not?
Yes.
Former, right?
Yeah, former, yeah.
That's right. Just as I think about MVU, boy, MVU's getting up there. We're talking, what, 1970 when it opened over?
That's right.
1971, yes.
Geez, is a school hanging? I mean, that's not a young school at this point as we look at a new Burlington High School going up these days or so. And school hanging in there.
So is it the best investment for the town of Swanton at the present time? It doesn't seem to be.
Really?
You know, and there's some issue whether this was voter supported or not, because the initial funding was basically put in the budget. It wasn't a separate article voted on by the voters.
It was just part in the budget.
Yeah, there was so much money put aside every year, you know, for the project. So, and at the input session, we had public input session. We didn't have a lot of people screaming that this had to be done.
Yeah.
So we're wondering how much support there is, and we just haven't seen that much as a board.
Huh.
So,
That's right. Boy. That sounds like another big issue. Of course, the rec center, community center.
the community center is you know, and that's one of the things. How many things can you prioritize? You know, and I believe the board would prefer to go ahead with some kind of plan to get this rec center, community center done. Than to put a lot of time and effort into the MVU sidewalk project. I got a feeling that's the way most members feel.
Interesting. And where does the rec center, were you looking for RFP, request for proposals for that?
Yeah, Brian,
where does that stand right now?
Okay, we did send out an RFP for a feasibility study, and we did sign a contract. The board approved the contract from a firm from Colorado, and that has a great amount of expertise, has done similar work for some projects here in Vermont, Rutland, Montpelier, South Burlington, so we've compiled a large amount of information that he's requested, and just the other day I scanned everything and sent it to him, and he's reviewing it, and if he needs something further, he'll get back to me. But he initially thought that we should have the between 60 and 90 days, we should have his final report. So that's where that stands right now. He's got the information, and we'll see what he has to say.
And you get a price tag, or you get an estimated price tag out of this?
We do have, we already have an estimated price tag, and that's at $3.6 million.
Yeah, but I mean on
the feasibility study was, yes, that was the 15, just under 15,000.
Yeah. And so what will you get out of the feasibility study? You have an estimated price tag now. You've got a site for this. So what good info will come out of the feasibility study?
To see what whether there would be if it's financially sustainable, or within reason sustainable. Now, say within reason, I mean we don't expect it to make a profit. You know, we are not a profit-making organization, but we need to just see just what it's looking at, and so that we don't have any surprise down the road.
Interesting. And when should you get that back?
I would hope within 3 months.
3 months or so.
We're hoping by the end of September that we're going to have something really serious to discuss, you know, numbers-wise.
At which point do you think you'd be in position to decide whether to go ahead or not go ahead with this, or this would come up for a this obviously will come up for a vote if you move ahead with it.
Yeah,
it has to be a bond vote.
Bond vote.
A bond vote for sure.
Perhaps next town meeting, or
that would be the most likely place, even though I'm not sure we're going to be ready at that point in time. You know, we're still looking for alternative funding sources. You know, we don't have a final design of the structure itself. You know, we have a proposal that the rec committee has brought before us. You know, that could be what ends up getting done. There might be some changes made to that before the final design is made. So I know there's a lot of people that feel that you know, the sooner the better this gets done. But this is going to have a lasting impact on Swanton. Whatever we do, we want to make sure it's something that's going to be a long-term benefit to Swanton. And we don't want to be in a situation 10 or 15 years down the road and say, why didn't we do something different when we had the chance?
The site for this is nailed. The site for this is nailed down, or not?
Pretty much. The area that's been proposed is at the present recreation fields.
So already land owned by the town.
By the village.
By the village.
By the village. Sorry, by the village.
It will be in the back of the present recreation fields, and there are some people in the community that are concerned about putting it that far. You know, it wouldn't be a highly visible location, and access would be off Jewett Street, and there are some people that got concerns about that because that's the entrance to Shelburne Limestone too. You know, personally, I feel that's the area, you know, where the rec fields are, that's the area it should be, but maybe in a different location on the area. So there's a lot left to do. This is not a small project. You know, as I said before, Swanton as a town, to my knowledge, has never done a bond.
Boy, I think you mentioned that to me before. Is that right? Never done a bond.
Not that
not that I can recall.
Interesting.
Yeah, you did borrow for the highway garage, which by definition probably was not a bond. It's a loan, but state law is like basically if it's over a 5-year payback, they consider it a bond, but it really was a loan, which may be a way to go with this too. Whatever it is that we have to borrow, we probably can just do as well dealing with a local bank. You don't have the expense of writing the bond, so that would come once we got the money approved and being able to go ahead. For the viewers who are familiar with the Swanton rec fields, this would be what I would call the lower lot.
The lower lot?
The lower lot. Go right to the end of Jewett Street, and then it's the parking lot down in there. That's where the building would be located. So.
I think we talked about this last show, Earl. Money, LOT, St. Albans City and St. Albans Town around here, the local option tax. Boy, I think they're both getting close to about $1 million a year through that. I think we talked about that briefly. Is that getting some attention? The thought about maybe trying to go that route?
People bring it up. You know, it's going to. I would imagine it's going to happen in Swan at some point in time.
Are you not that enthused about it? Of course
not right at the present time. One of the concerns that I have about doing that, and I'm just speaking for myself now, is that, you know, I'd like to see more businesses established in Swan, especially in our village area. You know, before we started putting more taxes on, even though I don't think it's going to have much of an effect because, St. Albans, like you say, St. Albans Town, St. Albans City have already been doing it. It's not going to make a lot of difference to our businesses. It's like it's going to put them at a disadvantage or competitive disadvantage.
I remember some restaurants when the town was proposing it, some restaurants made some noise about it, but it doesn't seem to have been a big issue.
But I'd like to see a little more growth in the village area.
Yeah.
Before, we started putting this proposal forward, get going first, because we do have a few empty places, and, it's a difficult thing to do today.
Yeah.
And maybe if it makes Swanton a little more attractive right now, then, I'd like to keep that. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But the issue has been brought up. The Planning Commission and doing the town plan has had some discussions about potentially doing this in the future, and I see it as a real viable alternative because of the things that, capital projects are going to have to do in the future. Having a dedicated source of funding for that is going to be important because the board is discussing a capital budget. We've had that discussion a little bit, because we need money. We have buildings, we have equipment. They have to be maintained. Equipment's going to be replaced, trucks on the highway, and they're getting awful expensive.
Yeah.
So if we're going to maintain a somewhat stable tax rate with a reasonable growth, because taxes never go down, everybody knows that. It's how fast they go up is more the issue. If we want to continue to maintain that in the future, I think we're going to need another income source other than property taxes.
Which makes me think of the governor, Brian. Boy, I'm not sure you're missing much in Montpelier. I get the sense that you think Governor Scott has many more terms in him. I got to think he's not a real happy guy. He's, of course, been pretty much slugging it out with the Democratic supermajority. Be interesting to see what happens with the budget, I guess. Again, we're taping the show on June 15th. I guess the budget session is, June 20th or a few days away?
June 20th.
And at stake, $8.4 billion state budget. That's going to be an interesting vote. I think Mike Pichak, the state treasurer, voicing some concern of, we're talking the new fiscal year starting July 1st, voicing some concern. Hey, guys, let's not have, state government shut down. But I'm sure that's an issue you pay some attention to. But
it's number one. A lot of people have asked me, do I miss being in Montpelier? And absolutely not.
Is that right?
It was time for me to get done, and you don't realize it until you're done, and it's like, hey, this is good.
Especially with the Democratic supermajority. Boy, it's funny. Franklin County is like the alternate universe, 13-member legislative delegation, 12 Republicans, and Mike McCarthy, the sole demo from my district in St. Albans City.
So it'll remain to be seen. I had a very brief conversation with Senator Brock on Memorial Day, and his feeling too is that we've got to watch to see when they get down there just the changes that were done on the federal level, which I haven't followed at all. That may affect some of the income that the state was expecting. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that have to be redesigned here.
I think I've noted state tax revenues have been down just about on the main taxes, and those are down below estimates at this point.
But it's a huge budget for a state the size of Vermont.
I think some people can't believe it. I think I'm going back how many years when I started seeing the state budget in the billions. I said, billions? That can't be right.
Right.
Yeah, for a little old Vermont, sounds like a fair amount of money.
That is, in the town of Swanton, like you take the community center, that's an issue, that I can see where the governor, I can understand his predicament.
Yeah.
He knows these things need to be done.
Yeah.
But he's trying to propose a way to do it that makes it affordable.
Yeah.
And I think that's important if you want people's support for these programs.
To people to stay in Vermont. I wake up to WVMT I can just count on a caller or two saying, hey, I'm out of here. I can't wait to get out of
Yeah.
here. I cannot afford to live in this state.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that the governor, first of all, he knows what the average common Vermonter can or cannot afford.
Yeah.
He's run a business, and he knows how tough that can be. So I think he's doing as best he can, and it's between the rock and the hard place, literally. So I wish him well.
Yeah, I'll just be curious to see if he hangs in. It seems like at this point he could be governor pretty much as long as he wants, but he picked up, 70% of the vote
Right,
last time?
right.
Even as folks were electing a supermajority Democratic legislature. It's kind of a weird situation.
Very much so.
Back to the community center. At this point, are you reasonably optimistic that this will move ahead, or?
Yes, I'm optimistic we're going to continue to move ahead. It's not going to be at the pace that some people would like, and I understand that, and the board understands that, and it might be too fast for some other people. But we want to be at the percent of proposal that we know the numbers are accurate. And this is what the impact is going to be, and this is what the benefits are going to be. And, I see it as being something very beneficial for Swanton, if we do this right. But it is a big thing, and, certainly we need more public input than what we've had to this date. It's been basically a board, the rec board, the select board. We haven't heard a lot from the outside, so that's got to be part of the process.
So the typical select board meeting, you're just not getting many people who show up to talk about that issue? Or
no,
anything else?
we haven't actually presented, made an effort to have one either as a board, and that's something that we're going to have to do. And we should start doing that before we start getting too far along in the process, so we know how people really feel.
And even before you get the results of the feasibility study?
I think at that same time, maybe, just to put it out there of what it looks like, and go from there. It has to be done. Something has to be done. Our rec facilities, as they are today, are not adequate for the amount of use the community is doing for recreation in Swan. And then we have the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail coming in. I mean, there's going to be, there's going to be growth in the future. So we're going to have to do something. And we still have the issue on 4th Street. There's property there that, basically the board made the decision to keep that land, the town keep that land to use for
the old town garage site.
Right, the old town garage site to use, and it's something that's going to be done there too. There's discussions going on, I guess. So there's a lot of things to consider, and I'm hoping to get a little bit more public input into the process as we move forward.
Lamoille Valley Rail Trail, boy, it sounds like is that completely done? It's pretty close anyway.
It's very close if it isn't completely done.
Yeah, interesting. And again, you folks are pondering what to do with the Swanton, of course, the western end of that, putting something up there. Is that still under discussion? Or?
Brian, give us an update of where we are right now. We do have funding.
First of all, and Joel Clark, former select board chair, this has been his
Baby.
project, his baby, and certainly hats off to him for a great job and all the hard work he has done. It is nearing completion if it isn't completed, but there's the official opening, the kickoff event, will be scheduled for Saturday, July 15th.
No, really, I hadn't heard that day. Saturday, July 15th?
Right. At 7:30 a.m.
Wow.
And this is the statewide kickoff with the governor present, and I believe Senator Sanders as well.
And sorry, where are they going?
It will be near the proposed trailhead in Swanton.
Oh, really? So they'll be on this side
Right.
of it.
Now we're planning. Locally, we are trying to plan what it is that we want to do. This is a big event, and it's not going to take very long because the governor is intending on getting on the trail and writing the complete trail.
Oh,
to
is that
St.
right?
Johnsbury
As in biking
one
the
day.
whole trail?
Right.
Oh, cool.
And they'll finish in St. Jay at, I believe, 7:30 that evening.
Wow.
So
that's a great idea.
we're looking for a.
Is Bernie going to bike along with them? Probably
he'll
not, I would guess.
he'll be at some stops along the way. I didn't say that he'd be biking.
Probably not.
Probably not.
So that we're going to have.
Although I did see him hiking the other day. I saw on TV news he was out hiking with some folks the other day.
So we're going to have. We're having a meeting on Tuesday with people from the state and other areas to see just what this celebration is going to be entail. What we are expecting, we're going to be providing some light refreshment and see. We'll have a tent there in the event that it's inclement weather. So it'll be near the proposed trailhead, which of course is basically a wooded area right now. But it would be in. I was looking this morning. We could possibly have it over on the former Carroll Concrete property if the village will let us. I'm sure they will. They'll be there too. And so it's an exciting event, and we're looking really forward to the event as well as to the construction of the rail trail of the trailhead.
And what are you planning? Is that still under discussion? What are you planning for to do with the
Okay,
trailhead?
well, we had a meeting. Joel Clark and I had a meeting with the design firm of VHB Associates and VTrans this past week, and we looked at the plans. There will be a paved area with parking.
How much parking?
Probably enough for 12 to 15
sounds
vehicles.
like should be good.
There will be a pavilion so that you can get in and out of the sunshine or the rain. It's close to the village water line, so there'll probably be availability of water on site. Any bathroom, portable toilet or anything? There would be a portalette. In trying to keep the cost and potential vandalism. I hate to say that, but down the road.
I know there have been issues with Richard Dick Thompson Fit and Healthy Path, fortunately.
So they're going to go the route of portalettes, at least for now. I'm not sure. We know it's very close to the village water line. I'm not sure where the village sewer line is there. So there'll be, they've talked about putting in a charging station for an electric bicycles, but that's been talked about. It wasn't on the plan, but and then there will be kiosks there for information and directions, and so it's really a very the grant that Joel applied for, and he received a grant of $375,164. That's I believe was the largest one that the state gave out for.
And who was that from? Who did he get that?
From VTrans.
From VTrans.
It's part of the money.
Part of the fund.
Wow.
And the town allocated $90,000 of ARPA funds for the match. So, and anything that's left over, we can put toward the cost of the kiosk. And because at the end of the trailhead, and then of course it does continue on to the Richard Thompson Fit and Healthy Path, and that's where we want people to get directed into the village and beyond. So we'll have informational kiosks ideally placed along the way to show where people can go to, they should somehow get the word out how to get to the wildlife refuge, which could be a big draw. So, along with the other attractions and stores in the community.
Interesting. I erroneously thought, which I mentioned before, that the Richard Dick Thompson Fit and Healthy Rec Path would be the end of the LVRT, but not the case. But it connects.
No,
It does connect. It's just across. They go right across.
And boy, kudos to Dick and Ron Kilburn pulling off the bridge was on, wasn't that
Right.
the case? That
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bridge from West Milton over the Lamoille?
Yeah.
And I guess because it was a historic bridge, they had to say, hey, in case anybody wants this bridge, and guess what? Ron said, yeah, we'd love that, we'd love it. Great effort.
Yeah.
And,
Great effort.
as Brian mentioned, the potential, and there is another old railroad bed that goes through McCall.
Right.
It might
I've
be a
walked on
better
it a bunch of
access
times.
to the refuge in 78.
Boy.
The state refuses to do anything about 78.
Yeah.
So maybe that might be another path that could be extended. It's a great resource that would that a lot of people here in Vermont, or even people coming to Vermont, would certainly appreciate and enjoy.
Yeah.
The
That'd be
natural resource of the
incredible if you could
refuge.
just get people out to the refuge even more easily.
And it would be a good thing for Swan. I think it would help some of our small businesses.
Yeah.
But we have to promote it, and we have to keep building towards that
Yeah.
direction.
Speaking of Route 78, isn't Agency of Transportation, aren't they supposed to be doing some work on that one of these years, or is that not even clear? Or
Well,
haven't they even scaled back some of the work they were originally planning for that, Brian? Or I'm shaky on that.
Well, it keeps getting, seems to be further out and further out as we go on.
Yeah.
The last I had heard was that there's a discussion with the Wildlife Refuge or the Department of the Interior and V-Trans on because that's going through some very sensitive wildlife areas, and that seems to be a stumbling block. So I'm not sure exactly where that stands. I mean, the last we had heard was they're only going to raise the bed of the road by a few inches, which to me is not
Really? A few
is
inches?
not sufficient, and the S-curves will have to remain there as is, and that's a safety issue. So there's still a lot of things that we haven't. I would imagine we get some of our plate cleaned here. We could invite V-Trans to come to a board meeting and give us an update.
There you go.
I don't think you're going to get that good of an update. I think one of the issues,
That's terrain you know only too well. Or,
I think one of the issues right here, right now, and actually I heard this from Tim Smith when we were having a discussion about the Welcome Center, is they're using a number, and Tim said it was 30% less truck traffic on 78 once the new highway in Canada is completed, the interstate straight from the border all the way to Montreal. I think I think they're kind of hanging around to see what really does happen before, because it would be difficult to update 78 the way it should be updated. Not impossible, but difficult. And if they can avoid something difficult, they're going to. That's just the way things get done most of the
But when I see I still get out there, and I was out at Tabor House the other day. But when I see bikers on Route 78, and again, you're out there. I'm happy I survived my 5 years on out there. But when I see bikers on 78, I just cringe.
It is a very big issue for Swanton 78. I mean, just the same as the Missisquoi Bay Bridge was at the time when that was getting proposed. So hopefully something's going to be, eventually done about it. I question whether this 30% reduction is a realistic reduction, and maybe if it is, maybe upgrading 78 more than what they're proposing probably wouldn't be totally necessary, but I'm not sure that number is going to be accurate.
And I agree with that. I just, you get the west end of Montreal that to get over to the A35, it's stop and go traffic all the way to the bridge, to the Champlain Bridge. So I
was up there the other day. Don't even talk to me about traffic up there.
I had to take my wife to the airport.
I was at the airport a week or two ago.
And on the way up was good because we were at 4 o'clock on a Saturday morning, but go to get her at 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, whole different story.
I hear you.
But the A35 is a beautiful highway. That's
Yeah.
great. And but I
Have we
just
got a
really
completion date? Every once in a while, I'll ask a border person, and they'll kind of laugh at me when I ask them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can
know.
tell you.
It looks like there's some
I
work
was
going
up
on.
there a couple weeks ago. They're getting closer.
Yeah.
They're really getting closer.
They
Yeah.
have the detour on 133 right now.
Yeah.
Because they're building that overpass. So,
Yeah, interesting.
So
They're getting
it's not far away.
Yeah, well, that'll be nice. Speaking of Missisquoi Bay, I guess there was a meeting in St. Albans a day or two ago on Missisquoi Bay Basin area or something. Does that mean anything to you? I just heard, either I think a TV report just kind of previewing this meeting and
No, I haven't heard any.
No, nothing that the select board was
nothing
made
across
aware
here.
of.
Nothing
Yeah.
yet.
Nothing.
Now I
I
get
didn't see any follow-up story, but
Yeah.
Missisquoi Bay, how's the bay doing as we get close to official summertime here?
Well, it's been the same for a few years. I wouldn't say it's getting worse. It's not ideal, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of effort's been gone into reducing phosphorus input into
Yeah.
the bay, and they've been successful at that. But water quality, that's going to take a long, long time
Yeah.
to change. Unfortunately, it's just
Yeah.
the way it is, and there's more improvements that need to be made too. To reduce runoff. So it's going to be a long haul.
Yeah.
But it's something I have to keep on, and it's something that the town of Swan, we've had some people on Quam Shore that have concerns.
Yeah.
We've had some discussions with the state about, but there's not a lot that can be done other than what's going on.
Yeah.
And hopefully, over time, we're going to see improvements.
Yeah, it sounds like, I think I probably mentioned this before, it seems like we went from St. Albans Bay to Missisquoi Bay and now Lake Carmi. It's
Yeah.
kind of the poster child for
Yeah.
water quality issues in the state for a pond or a lake. Anyway, talked about, we touched on ARPA money, American Rescue Plan Act money. Is that all allocated, or is there still some money you can allocate for,
Yes, we still have like 400,000, but
That's not
it's
allocated.
not allocated. But we have a building improvement project at the library we have to complete. We're not sure what that cost is going to be. We've had it on for a long time, Swanton Hill Road. Not a very good situation with a corner and a grade there that we're looking at trying to improve. We've got some cost figures on that right now, which is way over what we got for ARPA money. Because we haven't really used any ARPA money for town highways at this point in time. We set aside $600,000 for the rec center. And a lot of the other money has gone to update our new Zoom system for the town.
And a website, you're working on a new website?
Website,
right,
yes.
right.
We got to bring this up.
gotta bring this
I
up.
want to get it on before we get done.
Fine.
And that with the website, repairs, some other repairs to the library, and
How's the town hall? Is the town hall in okay shape?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's okay.
No huge issues there?
Not, no, it's,
No, there was some work done, windows redid, and we're doing some painting on the trim this year.
Yeah.
But the building itself has been well kept up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
But it's an old building, so it's going to be a constant thing.
Yeah.
It never goes away.
Yeah.
Same thing with the library. Town garage is newer, but still there's going to be maintenance issues in the future, even with a new building.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stay new forever.
Yeah.
So that ARPA money came in real handy, but it sounded like a lot at 1.2 million, but
Huh.
it don't last very long.
Yeah.
We could have used more.
Yeah. And when's the deadline? You still have another year or two to figure out what
Yeah.
to do with
Right.
that?
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we got. Don't worry, we're not going to send any back. Okay, nobody's got to worry about that.
Interesting. Let's get into the website.
Yeah, let's
About
get into
11
the
minutes
website.
left.
Yes.
So,
All right. I don't know if you. Yeah, there you brought it.
there we go.
Oh, wow, there we go. Oh, we did lose a swan, I guess, huh?
Yes, yeah.
One.
One of them.
One, we lost one?
The one surviving swan is in the park with the duck to keep him company.
Oh, is that right? So, is there a search for another swan or at this point, or?
That's,
There's considerable discussion actually as to what the future is going to be
Really?
of that.
Yeah.
You know, and the Chamber of Commerce has thrown around the idea of expanding the Swan Pond, doing
Yeah, I saw that.
some work around there, and that's something that will probably be some kind of decision to be made in the next year
Yeah.
or so.
so.
So again, working on a new.
Yeah, we're, okay, well, just a little background here
Yeah.
quickly. Toward the end of last year, I advocated for a redesign and actually new town website. In conversation with the village, they weren't happy with their website that they had at the time, so we joined forces and we have a joint town-village website. And it's up on the screen there right now. And so you can quickly go to the home page. You can click on any of the buttons. If you want strictly information on the town, you can click on town, or the village, click on village. Then under the services, those are, they may or may not be a village or town department, but they provide service to both entities regardless of where you are. So if you want information on the fire, police, rescue, you click there. The listers is a town function, but they are in fact listing all the village property as well. And the community, that is where you'd have your community resources. There's a calendar. You can have events put on your calendar. There's also on the website, you would have the various organizations.
Before you
like
go on too much further, on that community calendar,
Yeah.
if there are organizations within the town that want something on there, they contact Brian or Christina
Right.
at the town administrator's office.
Yeah, and we
Right.
can certainly put it on.
We are talking car show. We're talking another
Yep.
car show this
Car
summer.
show at the end of July.
End of July.
Yeah.
Are you right
And
on
it's
that?
always a popular
It's
event.
down there at the bottom.
It's down at the bottom. So as also, I'm sure they could call the village as well and ask for an event to be put on. They can put it on as well. But we also have a way to sign up to get information by email if someone wishes to be notified of when something is posted. So you would subscribe to your notifications by entering your name and your email address and what it is you'd like to be notified about. If you sign up for that, you will get watch your email, you'll get a confirmation email, and then you just hit that you confirm it, and then you'll be set. So that should work.
So is this a done deal? Are you still working on this?
No,
or is
this
looks
is
like
live
it's finished
right now.
Wow.
This is live.
Wow, that's great.
If you put in the old website addresses of either the town or the village, it'll go to the new site. But now the simplified new website
Yeah.
is swantonvt.gov.
SwantonVT.gov.
Yeah. We have the .gov website, so that's that leads. I didn't realize that it's quite a procedure to get a .gov.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yes, because it is a government thing, and they even call Earl at home.
Yes, and
Is that right?
they called me, right? And they say, okay, are you Earl Fournier? And I said, yes. All right, we're going to call you back in 2 minutes.
Really?
I mean, you couldn't do it all at
In
once.
case you were an imposter or ran away or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, very tightly controlled. So when you see whatever website is .gov, that's should be a safe website.
No, that sounds like a really good initiative.
Right. And it went live just on the 31st of May.
Oh, wow.
It's got tweaks that we're still continuing to make. And of course, a website is a work in progress anyways.
Yeah.
There's always something to be done.
Yeah.
We don't have a blog site on it, but there is a link to the town Facebook page. And they can click on, and they can get to the Facebook page, and they can leave a comment or something.
Does
and
the
we check
village,
that.
does the village have a Facebook
They
page
do,
also?
but they would have to have them put their link on it.
Okay.
And but they do have a Facebook page as well.
Some hope that can I assume you would be listing like select board meetings when they're
Yes.
happening?
Yep.
Maybe
Yeah.
hoping
Right.
village
Yeah.
trustee meetings, maybe
They should
hoping
be.
that you might get a few more
Yeah.
folks out for these meetings.
Yes, that's definitely my hope, and the
Yeah.
board's hope for sure is we're trying to make it easier for people to get involved,
Yeah.
or to at least get some input into things, trying to make it comfortable for them, because we do need their input in order for the community to really move forward and be successful, because there's a lot of ideas that we're probably not thinking of ourselves, and a lot of ways of doing things that, so we're hoping, and I'm not a big social media guy, it's not
I'm sure
my
you're way ahead of me, Earl.
it's not my way of doing business, but the majority of people today do. So the board felt it was very important that we get something done on our website that is going to make it easier. We want to give easy access to what's going on in the town. That's why we have this. If you want to sign up, you're automatically, and we hope they do. The other thing I want to say, and Brian mentioned it, is if they feel we need to do something different on this website, tell us about it, because that's what we're looking for, is public input of how to make this better.
Have you gotten some input? It's been a couple of weeks since it's been up. Have you gotten some input on this?
Positive input, nothing negative so far.
Yeah.
So
Few minor changes.
very minor changes that basically town employees picked up on.
Oh, yeah.
So we corrected those, or in the process of it. So yeah, it's been very positive. People like it. They like the looks of it, and it's much easier to maintain as well compared to the old
that
one.
is a key thing. Is the changes that need to be made now we can make in our office.
Right. Very easily.
Yeah.
And
compared
we
to
have
the
a
old
consultant
system. Yep.
that's on board. We're going to pay every year to keep everything updated and everything running. If we got a problem, we got somebody we can call and get it straightened right out.
Good.
So that's a big thing today. I just hope people use it a lot.
Yeah.
And get involved a little bit more here in Swan. And we need their input for this to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of opportunities here. I think there's some opportunities from a marketing standpoint that, we're going to have to take a more serious look at now that we got the site up and running. What's available here in Swan, what future growth plans we had, because there's probably people outside of our community area that might be interested in doing something around here, but they don't know exactly what's going on. This would give them a quick way of finding out. And then, then they would know who to contact here in Swan.
Sounds good.
So we're trying to make it a little more efficient for people.
Right. Down to about 2.5 minutes. Anything you want to quickly talk about that we haven't talked about?
Well,
Not missing any big issues, but we're probably
anybody in Swan that wants to show up on the 15th at 7:30 for the Lamoille Trail kickoff.
That sounds great.
Is more than welcome.
Yeah.
The governor will be here, and supposedly Senator Sanders too. The board is excited about this project.
That's sounds like a great resource.
So anybody in Swanton that wants to come.
Yeah.
I think it'll mean a lot to the governor and Senator Sanders to see that.
Yeah.
People are excited about this.
Have you noticed some more biker? Are you seeing more bike traffic courtesy of LVRT at this point, or school's still in session? I suspect
school's
this
still
summer.
in session, and also the location of my office. I don't see anything.
But boy, hopefully we'll see
but
some more
I'm sure there
traffic
will
around
be
here.
as time goes on.
I think traffic is picking up on there from what I've seen going to Highgate back and forth there.
And what we failed to mention mention is when the trailhead will be completed.
Yeah.
That'll be
Yeah,
next
good
summer.
point. No, it's the next
Yeah.
summer.
Some construction will start this year, but not, there'll be some clearing, but we have to stop, I can't think of the exact date, I believe the end of October because of bats.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yeah,
bats, huh?
speaking of bats.
I may have
And-
added one to that group.
and but it will start, and it should be completed next summer.
Really, speaking of bats, huh? Boy, that's
Right. Well, you can't clear.
Oh, really?
You can't.
Want to
cut,
get one
so.
thing in.
Yeah.
One thing in quick.
Yeah.
The town plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the town plan does include some emphasis here on the Southern Growth District.
Okay.
Their public hearings are going on right now, and it'd probably be quicker for you to do them, Brian.
Okay.
Real quick.
Last night, town plan, the Town Planning Commission approved the town plan. It now goes to the Select Board. And on July 18th, the Select Board will have the first hearing on the municipal plan at 6 p.m. at the town office. And the second hearing would be where they would adopt it is scheduled for August the 22nd. There would be a special Select Board meeting to deal just with that issue, and that will start at 6 p.m. as well.
Very good. On that note, we'll call it a day. Thanks to Brian Savage, the Swanton Town Administrator, Earl Fournier, the Swanton Town Select Board Chairman. Thanks for your time, and thanks to producer Alan Cunningham for doing all the hard work behind the scenes. Thanks for watching us on Northwest Access TV. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. See you next time.